Today, I stand before you to explore an idea that is as ancient as humanity itself and yet as relevant today as it ever was: the art of loving without limits. Once as many, self love is the foundation upon which all other forms of love are built. It is not a selfish act, but rather an essential prerequisite for healthy relationships and a fulfilling life. Without self love, our ability to genuinely love and connect with others becomes limited. When we lack acceptance of ourselves, we unconsciously seek validation, approval, or worth from external sources, which can create dependency and strain in our relationships. True self love, however, empowers us to approach others from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. It allows us to give love freely without expecting anything in return because we are already secure in our own worth. To love oneself is to fully embrace who you are, the good, the bad, and everything in between. It requires acknowledging your strengths as well as your flaws, without harsh judgment or shame. Self-love is not about perfection, it is about acceptance. It means recognizing that you are worthy of love and compassion simply because you exist, not because of what you achieve or how others perceive you. This acceptance fosters a sense of inner peace and resilience, enabling you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Cultivating self-love begins with self-awareness. Taking the time to reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors can help you understand the underlying patterns that shape your relationship with yourself. Often, the harshest critic we face is the one within our own minds. Negative self-talk, self-doubt, and unrealistic expectations can erode our sense of self-worth over time. To counteract this, it is crucial to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a dear friend. When you make a mistake, instead of berating yourself, acknowledge that imperfection is a part of being human. Another important aspect of self-love is setting boundaries. Loving yourself means recognizing your limits and prioritizing your well-being. It involves saying no to things that drain your energy or compromise your values, even if doing so may disappoint others. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, but about creating a healthy balance that allows you to give and receive love without depleting yourself. When you honor your own needs, you teach others to respect you and set a standard for how you deserve to be treated. Self-love also involves taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental health. This can mean different things for different people, but it often includes practices such as eating nourishing foods, staying active, getting enough rest, and seeking support when needed. Taking care of yourself is not indulgent, it is necessary. By prioritizing your health and well-being, you are better equipped to show up fully for others and for the demands of life. A significant barrier to self-love is comparison. In a world dominated by social media and constant connectivity, it is easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth against others. Comparing yourself to someone else's highlight reel can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. The antidote to this is gratitude and self-acceptance. Focus on what makes you unique and celebrate your journey rather than measuring it against someone else's path. Gratitude for your own life and experiences can shift your perspective and deepen your appreciation for who you are. Self-love is not a destination, but an ongoing practice. It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to grow. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. The key is to keep showing up for yourself even when it feels difficult. Over time, as self-love becomes a natural part of your life, you will find that it transforms the way you relate to the world around you. It creates a ripple effect, enabling you to love others more freely and authentically because you are no longer seeking from them what you already possess within yourself. Practicing empathy and understanding is a transformative act that allows us to connect deeply with others, break down barriers, and build meaningful relationships. At its core, empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to see the world from their perspective, and to feel their emotions as if they were your own. It goes beyond mere sympathy or pity, which often maintain a distance between people, and instead fosters a genuine sense of shared humanity. Empathy bridges the gaps created by differences, allowing us to see each other not as strangers, but as interconnected beings with shared hopes, fears, and dreams. Empathy begins with listening, not just hearing words, but truly listening to understand. So often in conversations, we are preoccupied with formulating our responses or thinking about our own experiences rather than fully engaging with what the other person is saying. Active listening requires us to set aside our own thoughts and give our full attention to the speaker. It involves being present in the moment, observing not only the words, but also the tone, body language, and emotions behind them. This type of listening shows the other person that their voice matters and that they are seen and valued. Understanding others also requires a willingness to suspend judgment. All too often, we approach situations and people with preconceived notions or biases, filtering their experiences through our own lens. This can prevent us from truly appreciating their perspective. Practicing empathy means setting aside these judgments and approaching others with curiosity and openness. It means asking questions, seeking clarification, and striving to understand their experiences without rushing to conclusions or offering solutions. This process not only deepens our connections with others, but also broadens our own understanding of the world. One of the most powerful aspects of empathy is its ability to humanize those who are different from us. In a world divided by culture, religion, politics, and countless other factors, it is easy to fall into an us versus them mentality. This mindset often dehumanizes others, reducing them to stereotypes or labels. Empathy breaks down these divisions by reminding us that beneath the surface, we all share a common humanity. When we take the time to understand someone's story, their struggles, and their joys, we begin to see them not as the other, but as individuals with value and dignity. Practicing empathy is especially important in times of conflict or disagreement. It is natural to feel defensive when confronted with opposing views, but empathy challenges us to look beyond our own position and consider the other person's perspective. This does not mean that we have to agree with them or compromise our own values. Rather, it means acknowledging their feelings and experiences as valid, even if they differ from our own. But empathy can de-escalate tension and pave the way for constructive dialogue, fostering mutual respect and understanding. Empathy is not always easy, particularly when faced with people who have hurt us or whose values differ greatly from our own. In these situations, it is important to remember that empathy does not mean condoning harmful behavior or sacrificing your own well-being. Instead, it is about recognizing that everyone is shaped by their unique experiences and that their actions and beliefs often stem from their own struggles and pain. This perspective can help us approach even the most challenging interactions with compassion rather than anger or resentment. Cultivating empathy requires conscious effort and practice. It begins with self-awareness, understanding your own emotions and biases so that they do not cloud your interactions with others. It also involves exposure to diverse perspectives. Reading books, watching films, or engaging in conversations with people from different backgrounds can expand your understanding of the world and increase your capacity for empathy. Acts of service, volunteering, or simply stepping out of your comfort zone to interact with those who are different from you can also foster greater understanding. Ultimately, empathy is not just a skill, but a way of being. It invites us to approach the world with kindness, compassion, and an open heart. When we practice empathy, we create spaces where people feel safe, heard, and valued. This not only enriches our own lives, but also contributes to a more compassionate and connected world. Through empathy and understanding, we build bridges where there were once walls, and we discover the profound beauty of our shared humanity. Breaking down prejudices and biases is one of the most critical steps toward creating a more inclusive, compassionate, and equitable world. Prejudices are preconceived opinions or judgments formed without sufficient knowledge or understanding, often based on stereotypes or societal conditioning. Biases, whether conscious or unconscious, are the filters through which we perceive and interpret the world. While these mental shortcuts may have evolved to help humans process information quickly, they can lead to harmful assumptions, discrimination, and exclusion. Recognizing and dismantling these biases is essential for fostering deeper connections and building a society rooted in fairness and respect. The first step in breaking down prejudices and biases is self-awareness. Many biases operate unconsciously, influencing our thoughts and actions without us even realizing it. To uncover these hidden biases, we must take an honest and introspective look at ourselves. This involves questioning our beliefs, assumptions, and reactions, especially in situations where we feel discomfort or judgment. Tools like implicit bias tests, journaling, or seeking feedback from trusted peers can help illuminate blind spots in our thinking. Acknowledging the existence of these biases is not a sign of weakness or failure. It is a courageous act of growth and self-improvement. Education plays a pivotal role in dismantling prejudices. Prejudice often stems from ignorance or a lack of exposure to different cultures, perspectives, or experiences. By seeking out information and learning about people who are different from us, we can challenge stereotypes and expand our understanding of the world. This could mean reading books, watching films, or listening to stories that highlight diverse voices and experiences. Education helps replace fear of the unknown with curiosity and empathy, enabling us to see individuals as multifaceted human beings rather than reducing them to simplistic labels. Exposure and interaction are equally important in breaking down biases. Spending time with people from different backgrounds, cultures, or walks of life can challenge preconceived notions and foster genuine understanding. These interactions provide opportunities to see the world through someone else's eyes, breaking down the us versus them mentality that often fuels prejudice. Authentic relationships with people who are different from us can help us recognize the shared humanity that binds us all, despite our differences. Another essential aspect of dismantling biases is challenging the societal norms and structures that perpetuate them. Many prejudices are reinforced by cultural narratives, media representations, and institutional practices. For instance, portrayals of certain groups in stereotypical or negative roles can shape public perception and contribute to discrimination. To combat this, we must become critical consumers of media and actively support narratives that celebrate diversity and inclusivity. On a broader level, advocating for systemic change, whether in education, the workplace, or government policies, can help create environments that promote equity and reduce prejudice. Breaking down prejudices also requires humility and a willingness to admit when we are wrong. As human beings, we all make mistakes, and it is natural to hold biases, especially when they are ingrained from a young age. However, when confronted with evidence that challenges our assumptions, it is important to remain open-minded and willing to change. This process can be uncomfortable, as it often requires us to confront deeply held beliefs or acknowledge ways in which we may have contributed to harm. Yet it is through this discomfort that true growth occurs. Listening is a powerful tool in the fight against prejudice. By genuinely listening to the experiences and perspectives of others, especially those who have been marginalized, we can gain insights into the realities of discrimination and inequality. Listening with an open heart and mind, without defensiveness or the need to argue, allows us to better understand the impact of our actions and the systems we participate in. It is through this understanding that we can begin to make meaningful changes in our behavior and advocate for justice. Breaking down biases is not a one-time effort, but an ongoing practice. It requires consistent self-reflection, education, and action. It also involves holding ourselves and others accountable in a compassionate yet firm manner. When we hear or witness prejudiced remarks or actions, speaking up and addressing them is essential. These moments, though uncomfortable, are opportunities to challenge harmful behaviors and foster awareness. The rewards of breaking down prejudices and biases are profound. By doing so, we open ourselves to a richer, more diverse world of experiences and relationships. We create spaces where people feel valued and respected for who they are, not judged for who they are perceived to be. Most importantly, we contribute to a culture of inclusivity and compassion that benefits everyone. In the end, breaking down biases is not just about changing how we see others. It is about transforming how we see ourselves and our role in creating a more just and loving world. Forgiveness is one of the most profound acts of love and compassion we can offer, both to others and to ourselves. It is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness or an act of condoning wrongdoing, but true forgiveness is neither of these things. Rather, it is a courageous and liberating choice to release the burden of anger, resentment, and pain that often accompany acts of hurt or betrayal. Forgiveness is not about excusing harmful behavior, nor does it require forgetting the past. It is about freeing yourself from the emotional chains that keep you tied to that pain and allowing yourself to heal. At its core, forgiveness is an act of self-care. When we hold on to anger or resentment, it can fester within us, impacting our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. Studies have shown that prolonged feelings of bitterness or hostility can lead to stress, anxiety, and even health problems such as high blood pressure or weakened immune function. By forgiving, we let go of these toxic emotions, creating space for inner peace and personal growth. It is often said that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. When we forgive, we stop harming ourselves and start the journey toward healing. Forgiveness is also a practice of empathy and understanding. When someone hurts us, our natural instinct is often to view them solely through the lens of their actions, reducing them to the role of the wrongdoer in our story. However, forgiveness invites us to see the humanity in others, to recognize that their actions may stem from their own pain, fear, or misunderstanding. This does not excuse their behavior, but it helps us approach the situation with compassion rather than judgment. When we understand that people are often shaped by their own struggles and imperfections, it becomes easier to let go of anger and extend grace. An important aspect of forgiveness is recognizing that it is a process, not a one-time decision. Depending on the depth of the hurt, it may take time to fully let go of negative feelings. It is normal to experience moments of doubt or lingering resentment, but what matters is the commitment to keep working toward forgiveness. This process requires patience and self-compassion, as well as the willingness to revisit painful emotions and address them head on. It is through this consistent effort that forgiveness becomes a reality. Forgiving others does not mean you have to reconcile with them or invite them back into your life, especially if doing so would compromise your well-being or safety. Forgiveness is not about restoring a relationship to what it once was. It is about releasing the emotional hold that the past has on you. In some cases, reconciliation may be possible and even desirable, but in others, forgiveness may simply mean choosing to move forward without carrying the weight of bitterness or blame. Equally important is the act of forgiving yourself. We are often our harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards and punishing ourselves for mistakes or perceived failures. Self-forgiveness is an essential part of personal growth and self-love. It involves acknowledging your imperfections, taking responsibility for your actions, and learning from your experiences, without allowing guilt or shame to define you. Just as we extend compassion to others, we must also extend it to ourselves, recognizing that we are all human and capable of both making mistakes and growing from them. One of the most powerful aspects of forgiveness is its ability to break cycles of hurt and anger. When we hold on to resentment, it can spill over into our interactions with others, perpetuating a cycle of negativity and conflict. By choosing forgiveness, we disrupt this cycle and create an opportunity for healing and transformation, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. Forgiveness has a ripple effect, inspiring others to let go of their own pain and approach life with greater compassion and understanding. It is important to acknowledge that forgiveness is not always easy, and it may not come naturally in the face of deep betrayal or harm. However, it is a choice that empowers us to reclaim control over our emotions and our lives. When we forgive, we are no longer defined by what happened to us. Instead, we become active participants in our own healing. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past, but about choosing how we move forward from it. In the end, forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves. It allows us to release the heavy burden of resentment and anger, to find peace in the midst of pain, and to open our hearts to the possibility of joy and connection. It is an act of love toward others, yes, but most importantly, toward ourselves. Through forgiveness, we create space for healing, growth, and the boundless power of love to take root and flourish in our lives. Giving without expectation is one of the purest and most selfless acts of love. At its heart, it is about offering kindness, support, or generosity to others simply for the joy of giving, without any desire for recognition, repayment, or reward. This kind of giving reflects a deep understanding of love as something that flows freely, not as a transaction or an exchange. When we give without expectation, we cultivate genuine connections and contribute to the well-being of others while enriching our own lives in the process. One of the most profound aspects of giving without expectation is its ability to shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. When we attach expectations to our acts of giving, whether in the form of gratitude, acknowledgement, or a return favor, it often stems from a subconscious fear of losing something or being taken advantage of. However, when we give freely and wholeheartedly, we realize that love and kindness are not finite resources. The more we give, the more we find that we have to offer. This shift in perspective allows us to approach life with an open heart and a sense of generosity rather than a fear of lack or limitation. Giving without expectation also fosters authenticity in our relationships. When we give with strings attached, our actions can sometimes feel transactional or conditional. This can create tension or pressure in our interactions, as the recipient may sense that our kindness comes with unspoken demands. On the other hand, when we give purely for the sake of giving, we create a space where trust and genuine connection can flourish. The recipient feels valued and loved for who they are, not for what they can provide in return. This authenticity deepens the bond between giver and receiver, creating relationships that are grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Moreover, giving without expectation allows us to experience the true joy of generosity. There is a unique and profound sense of fulfillment that comes from knowing you have made a positive difference in someone's life without seeking anything in return. This joy is not dependent on external validation or outcomes. It arises from the simple act of sharing your time, energy, or resources with others. In many ways, giving is as much a gift to the giver as it is to the receiver. It nurtures our sense of purpose, connects us to our shared humanity, and reminds us of the beauty of selflessness. Finally, it is important to recognize that giving without expectation does not mean disregarding your own boundaries or needs. Selfless giving should never come at the expense of your well-being. Instead, it is about finding a balance between caring for yourself and extending kindness to others. When you give from a place of abundance and authenticity, rather than obligation or guilt, your generosity becomes a genuine expression of love rather than a source of resentment or burnout. Acts of giving without expectation can take many forms, from grand gestures to small, everyday actions. It could be as simple as helping a stranger carry their groceries, offering a listening ear to a friend in need, or volunteering your time to a cause you care about. These seemingly small acts have the power to create ripples of positivity, inspiring others to pay it forward and spreading kindness throughout your community. Even when your efforts go unnoticed or unacknowledged, the impact of your generosity can be far-reaching and transformative. One of the challenges of giving without expectation is learning to let go of the desire for control or recognition. It is natural to want to see the results of your kindness or to feel appreciated for your efforts. However, true selfless giving requires us to release any attachment to outcomes. This means trusting that your actions, no matter how small, have value and significance, even if they are not immediately visible. By focusing on the act of giving itself, rather than on what you might receive in return, you free yourself from disappointment or frustration and allow love to flow freely. Giving without expectation also teaches us humility. It reminds us that our acts of kindness are not about elevating ourselves or seeking praise, but about contributing to the greater good. When we give selflessly, we acknowledge that we are all interconnected and that our actions have the power to uplift and support others. This perspective helps us approach giving with a sense of gratitude and reverence rather than ego or entitlement. Ultimately, giving without expectation is a practice that transforms not only our relationships with others, but also our relationship with ourselves. It cultivates a sense of inner peace, fulfillment, and joy, reminding us of the inherent goodness within us all. By choosing to give freely and without conditions, we embody the true essence of love, an energy that is infinite, boundless, and unconditional. Through our selfless acts, we not only enrich the lives of others, but also contribute to a world that is kinder, more compassionate, and more connected. Creating safe and loving spaces for others is a fundamental aspect of building meaningful relationships and fostering emotional well-being. These spaces allow people to feel valued, accepted, and supported without fear of judgment or rejection. At its essence, a safe and loving space is not just physical, but emotional and psychological. A place where individuals can express themselves freely, share their vulnerabilities, and be their authentic selves. It is an environment where trust flourishes and connections deepen. The foundation of creating such spaces lies in active listening and presence. When we truly listen to someone, we are not just hearing their words, but engaging with their emotions and intentions. This requires putting aside distractions, being fully present in the moment, and showing genuine interest in their thoughts and feelings. Active listening communicates that they matter and that their experiences are important. It fosters a sense of being seen and heard, which is essential for emotional safety. Another key element is practicing empathy and compassion. People feel safe when they know that they will not be judged or criticized for their struggles, mistakes, or fears. Empathy involves understanding their emotions and perspectives, even if we don't fully agree with them. Compassion takes this a step further by offering kindness and support in response to their needs. Together, these qualities create a nurturing environment where individuals feel cared for and respected. Consistency and reliability are also vital in fostering safe and loving spaces. Trust is built when people know they can count on you to be present, honest, and dependable. This means showing up when you say you will, following through on promises, and being emotionally available when others need you. Consistency helps eliminate uncertainty and creates a foundation of stability that encourages openness and connection. Respecting boundaries is equally important. Everyone has unique comfort levels and needs, and honoring these is a sign of respect and care. Asking for consent, being mindful of personal space, and recognizing when someone needs time or privacy all contribute to creating a space where they feel secure. Respecting boundaries fosters mutual trust and ensures that interactions remain healthy and positive. Ultimately, creating safe and loving spaces is about prioritizing love, kindness, and understanding in every interaction. It's about showing others that they are valued, cherished, and deserving of unconditional care, a gift that strengthens bonds and nurtures the human spirit.